But you start writing what is being told, what you are asking in terms of question. At the end of the day, you just browse through that here and there. Some point will come out of what we have discussed. And that is enough for you, because that is the one which has worried you. There is a brilliant book called as 24 Hours After. You walk down the street and look for that book. And that book precisely tells you this. After any session, after any meeting, after any session, any meeting, forget about it. Because you can't produce everything. But a day after, try to recollect what you have learned, whether you are traveling in the bus, whether you are traveling somewhere else, and try to take out few points from them. Those points will be very valuable and important for you. These are only two things I would like to tell you, but as I proceed, I can tell you much more as regards the marketing. Today, I have been given the task of briefing you on some fundamental aspects of diabetes mellitus. What is diabetes mellitus? It has been defined variously. It has been told by many people, of which the most famous two, Charaka and Sushruta. Charaka and Sushruta are the one in the world described diabetes mellitus. And to put it in understandable English, they told it is called as passing of honey. Passing of honey. You pass urine, which is sweet. So the first description would be brought out in the literature, which is the Sanskrit literature, stated, in a diabetic we are passing honey and sweet. Number two, another person, another big man described this as, diabetes is a disease where we have a tendency to invite ants towards that. So we didn't know what it means. So he said, what we mean by this is, after we urinate and go out, you stand there for about 15-20 minutes. Suddenly you see ants coming to that side, which is a combination of the sweet which you are dropping, and for that the ant is coming. This is how it was described at that time. Later on, enormous amount of knowledge has flown in understanding diabetes. To begin with, we understood two types of diabetes. To begin with, as I go by, I will say, as of now, what are the two types? Type 1 and type 2. What is type 1? What is type 2? Fundamentally, type 1 is a disease, is a diabetic state where there is an absolute deficiency of insulin. That is all. So, for you marketing people not involved with insulin care and insulin giving, you need not know anything about it, because you don't have to talk about insulin. Because when you talk about type 1 diabetes, it is precisely insulin deficiency state, and the type of diabetes you are dealing with is type 2 diabetes. What is type 2 diabetes? It is dependent upon many factors. Most important factor is sedentary lifestyle, excessive eating, physical exercise being absent. You tend to put on weight and you develop diabetes mellitus. Today, world over, the experts and authorities are grappling with the concept of type 2 diabetes. To this day, they do not know what is type 2 diabetes. They know this is what it is, but unlike type 1, where everyone knew insulin is less, give insulin, patient becomes all right. In type 2 diabetes, nobody knows what is going on, why it is coming up. That is why the development which has taken place in that is of great interest to you. We depend upon tablets. And you know, the development has taken place so rapidly and so well, there are 14 anti-diabetic tablets in the world. In the States, 14. I didn't know that. Of course, I knew this tablet acts on sugar, this comes on another thing. When you try to put down the list has soared up to 14 products.
14 anti-diabetic products. Most definitely we cannot be using 14 anti-diabetic products, out of which we are choosing 1, maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 4. As of now in India, we may be using about half a dozen, out of which we are extensively using only 2 or maybe 3. I won't go into the details of that because this will come in the later part of the discussion. Now, what happens in type 1 diabetes? Because of the absolute lack and absolute deficiency of insulin, the individual is shrunk. It is starvation in the midst of plenty. He goes on eating. In spite of his going on eating, he shrinks in size. So tomorrow in your practice, when you are going out, when you are talking to somebody, somebody talks to you, sir, I got somebody at home, my son is at home. He has a voracious appetite. He eats like anything. But I don't understand what is wrong with him. He's losing weight like anything. Tell us, because they know you are a medical man, you are interested in diabetes, tell us what we should be doing. Immediately you should think that he is showing the classic feature of starvation in the midst of plenty. He's going on eating, but still he's losing weight. That is a type of a metabolic derangement which is occurring in the patient. I won't talk about it now. And that metabolic derangement is causing him to shrink. And not only that, he goes on passing urine every 15 minutes. He sits in the toilet at times most of the times. So, enormous appetite,